Hey, Dad, how's it going?
Going great, John Michael. How are you?
Good. So,
That's the idea.
I thought I'd talk to you a little bit about the IceCaps since they're doing so well.
Yeah, I went and saw them play last night.
Well, you're always there, aren't you?
Well, I'm always there. I missed 2 games out of 37.
Oh my gosh!
So I think I'm safe to say I'm almost always there.
Just to back up just a little bit, I mean, you've been writing these articles on CNBC as Smiling Jack, and you are a hockey aficionado, would you say? You've rubbed shoulders with some hockey greats over the years?
I have. I remember Darryl Sittler among my hockey friends, the Hall of Famer.
There you go. That's not bad.
And I've met a lot of other hockey players coming up through the ranks, everybody from Rocket Richard to Gordie Howe to Tim Horton.
Wow, there you go.
And for those of listening to us today that think Tim Horton is best known for double-doubles, he was a terrifically outstanding defenseman when he was playing hockey.
Yeah. That's a story that doesn't get told too often, that's for sure.
It does not, no, that's right.
I did find, believe it or not, a book in our library about, in the kids section, about Tim Horton, which is interesting.
Did you?
Yeah. So, trying to educate kids. You know, kids are interested in hockey, and that's how you got me. You got me on the ice sometimes, trying to play hockey when I was young. So there you go.
And then we took you to Trinidad.
Yeah, that's a totally different story.
Ice is scarce in Trinidad,
no ice
except
there.
drinks.
Nice there. But getting into broadcasting, though, you're no stranger to that either. I mean, not only are you familiar with hockey, but you actually met one of the broadcasting greats, Howie Meeker, didn't you?
I did, yeah. Howie Meeker was here in St. John's when I worked here in the 60s.
Wow.
Howie Meeker revolutionized hockey in St. John's.
So you've been well entrenched in hockey, so you're I would say an expert when it comes to reporting on it. So you've been in the press box, I guess, for all these IceCap games.
I have been, that's right. Yeah, I've been up in the press box sharing some views with some very knowledgeable people up there.
As the visiting teams come in, they bring their own reporters as well, do they not?
They would bring their broadcast crew.
Ah, yeah.
There might be one reporter there. That would be the most for the AHL teams.
Sure.
But they'd also bring scouts in, and we've had several scouts down here. The previous coach of the Montreal Canadiens was here. Scotty Bowman, one of the most famous coaches in history, was here. When a Chicago farm team was here just the other night.
So you've actually followed this all the way along. I know that the great Danny Williams was a gentleman to help get things motivated.
Well, when you're speaking about success stories,
yeah.
St. John's IceCaps are considered a great success story. When Danny decided he was going to bring an AHL team back, the AHL was welcome back, and that's attested to by the fact that season tickets went quickly. We've had 37 straight sellouts.
I guess there's an impact not only on people watching hockey, but it's bringing people into the province that might not normally be there, especially visiting teams and people who are just traveling in general. Do you see that sort of impact?
The entourage from the different teams, and they'll usually play 2-game sets.
Ah, yeah.
The team from Maine was in last night and played Tuesday and Wednesday, and then the Springfield Falcons, I think it is, if I remember correctly, are coming in to play games on Saturday and Sunday.
Ah, there you go. So,
usually they bring an entourage of at least 30 people.
Plus the families come too, right?
The families could come, and that would add to the coffers. And a lot of these people will not only come here for the hockey games, but they'll come back when the season's over to explore the places that they've heard about in Newfoundland. So it is a very, very big economic generator.
Sure, that's good. And then we were talking about, the impact of the IceCaps on Newfoundland, and one of the things you're writing about was Jason King. Being not only AHL Man of the Year, but contributes greatly to the local community. Have you met with him recently?
Yes, I have. I have met with Jason. Very, very fine gentleman. He's a leader on the team, a leader in the dressing room, and very, very much of a credit to the St. John's IceCaps. Jason, by the way, isn't AHL Man of the Year as yet.
Oh.
He is the St. John's nominee for AHL Man of the Year.
Ah, I see. Okay.
He'll be up against 30 other individuals. You may have been a bit premature, but I hope you're not wrong.
You never know, and that's good for a guy coming from Corner Brook too. So
yeah, right. Jason has been he's been involved in hockey for quite a while. Another thing I should mention about the IceCaps before I forget is that Danny brought a great team in here with him, not the least of which was Glen Sanford. And Glen really runs the day-to-day operations, does an excellent job. He was former general manager of the Hamilton Bulldogs.
Oh, right. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Former general manager of the St. John's Maple Leafs.
There you go.
And he knows the AHL inside out. When Danny brought hockey back, he brought Glen with him and worked with Glen and so on, and they make a great team.
That's a great organization there. Really well run. They really treat you well, that's for sure.
Yeah, and they treat their employees well. As I go in each night, there's a smile from everybody. There's a great type of camaraderie among the employees there, and that rings right through the organization. Well, and it rings right through from the Winnipeg Jets on down.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I mean, that's the point that you see these people who are on TV and in the stands in Winnipeg, and that type of excitement that it just flows from province to province. You see those people in Winnipeg just overjoyed to have the Winnipeg Jets, and then that sort of excitement flows all the way to Newfoundland when you see the IceCaps play. It's
right. Craig Heiser is the general manager of the team, and he's really responsible for most, if not all, of the players on the IceCaps, and so on. And he does a wonderful job. He's stocked the team with some great character players, like Jason King and so on. But it's a strong character team, and they're going to do well in the playoffs.
So without placing a Sports Illustrated jinx on this, would you want to forecast, predict what's going to happen, or are you waiting and seeing?
I predict they're going to do well. Right now, they have about 9 or 10 players on the injured list or coming off the injured list.
Yeah.
And they have 2 call-ups to the Winnipeg Jets. Patrice Cormier from Moncton, New Brunswick, who's been one of their better players of late, was called up, and Spencer Mahachuk was up previous to that. Those, because the Winnipeg Jets, and we didn't wish them any ill will, but they did not make the Stanley Cup playoffs. So those 2 players will be returning to the IceCaps for the playoffs.
So there's still a chance for some glory there, I guess you could say.
Well, it's a chance to add some veteran leadership to the team.
Right.
And then they have various members of the all-star defenseman Paul Postma, the captain Jason Jeffrey, one of their veterans Marco Rossa, Ray Sawada, and Brock Trotter. These are all veterans that are going to add to the team. Right now they're playing with a great group of young players fresh out of junior hockey, but more importantly, a lot of tryout players up from the university ranks. They played 4 years of university hockey in the United States at a very high level. They received excellent coaching, and now they're coming out and they're signed to amateur contracts with the IceCaps. And a lot of these chaps are looking very good. Will O'Neill, a defenseman, played the last 2 games, was with the University of Maine Bears, and he's looked very good on defense. And there's numerous forwards there that are looking pretty darn good, and so on, that have come up from the university ranks. They may not all play in the playoffs, but a lot of these guys are becoming good-looking AHL prospects for next year. The team is well stocked for the long run. They got some great type of character in that dressing room. There's all kinds of people I could talk to you about. Garth Murray, I have to mention him. Mm-hmm. He is a veteran, and he has just led this team from day one, playing on the penalty kill and different places and so on. But Garth is a definite addition to the team. There's Jason Jaffrey, the captain, has been a great addition. So they have some great players.
It sounds like it. I mean, that was one of the things that I noticed in the gameplay itself, was that it's a quicker type of game. There's more excitement on the ice. Not to say the NHL is boring by any means, but it's just you have that young, fresh talent that really wants to make a difference, and you see that in the gameplay.
Yeah, a lot of these guys they have speed to burn, but we have very good hockey players.
Well, potential stars, though, you got to keep that in mind too, right?
You have potential stars, but for instance, we don't have Sidney Crosby playing in the AHL.
Okay.
We have a lot of chaps who are just slightly under Sidney Crosby, and a lot of the AHL teams are now sending their chaps that can't make it directly into the NHL back to the AHL, rather than sending them to another year of overage junior hockey.
Yeah.
So we're seeing a lot of these guys that need a little finishing touches, but are just about ready.
So looking back over this year, it's not quite finished yet. Are there any memorable moments that you'd say that you've seen, being up in the press box or being in the locker room?
When I first got there, we had a lot of St. John's victories, and we had a lot of stirring comebacks, third period comebacks, and everybody said, this is a great character team. And my standing joke was with the chaps up in the press box, the players who weren't playing would come up and they had a player's place up there, and I'd say, what does Coach McCambridge tell you guys between the second and third, that the team comes out all fired up and wins the game in the third period? Well, I never did get the answer to that, but this is a team that was based on comebacks and so on, and it's a team that's always had resiliency, and it's a team that's going to do well in the playoffs. I'm not going to predict.
Okay. Yeah.
I think this started out. Well, what are you going to predict? I'm going to predict that the IceCaps are going to play exceptionally well in the playoffs. The AHL is a deep league. The Norfolk Admirals have won, I think at last count it was 22 or 23 straight games, and they're not going to go easily. But this IceCap team is going to be hurt from the playoffs. They have great coaching, great coaching with Keith McCambridge and Mike Morrison, and so on, and it's a team well put together, and they're going to do well.
There you go. Sounds good. Well, Dad, I guess we better end it there, and I want to thank you very much for chatting about the IceCaps, and we'll be following them closely and see how things turn out in the playoffs.
And as you started out, I hope I didn't put the hex on it.
No. We're just chatting about the IceCaps, and I'm sure they're going to do well no matter what we say or what's written about them.
I look forward to some good playoff hockey.
That's it for sure. Oh, good stuff.
Great to chat with you, John Michael.
Yep, thanks for your time, Dad, and we'll catch you later on.
And happy Easter.
And what's that thing you always tell me to do?
Keep your stick on the ice.
Okay, will do. Okay. Chat with you later. Okay, thanks. Bye.